Hello, my friend. Today we are talking on the Enneagram and Marriage Pod about the hidden drama, why protest behaviors sabotage love. This is going to be a two-part series. Today we're just doing a quick midweek episode, and we will follow up on Labor Day with our own work here so that you can hopefully be off work on Labor Day. See how I did that? I just want to make sure you know that I am here for you, and I am so excited that you pressed play so that you can learn about protest behaviors and how to make sure that you are healthy. Because I know what happens with couples is oftentimes somebody does something in an underhanded way to get a need met. And it's not just about being polite or gentle. That's okay. That's good. Showing boundaries, like, is this a good time? All of that is good. But when you just skip that step and you just say, I'm mad, I'm going to act passive aggressively, or I'm going to be directly cruel to you, these are ways a lot of people usurp in the fight or flight sort of schemes we do sometimes as humans. And it just doesn't work for their marriages because issues never get resolved. People are feeling like, why are you always so defensive? Why do you run away? And so we're just talking about that hidden drama that's sabotaging your marriage, sometimes at least. And that's why you press play. That's why I'm extra proud of you. So I want to make sure you understand a little bit about what I mean by protest behaviors. And basically, what I mean is that you are sometimes in that space where you're wondering what is happening with my partner when they really actually have heard about a need that I have and they are ignoring that need in one of those ways, right? Like I said, running or fighting. And we even saw a little bit of this. Yes, this is a throw in from what's happening this week in culture as I record this brief intro from the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce engagement. I see her in protest behaviors with her new album cover. There's this sense of regression a little bit and something as soon as I saw her new album cover, I love Taylor Swift, by the way. I was just like, oh gosh, like this is a protest behavior. Like, I will be so gorgeous that like you will want me. And I was like, please marry her. Like, I want her to get love. I don't want her, Sabrina Carpenter, all these others to have to come to this regressive space though, in order to get love, where it's like, I'll marry you with paper rings. I don't require anything. And so I think it's important that whatever your style or your partner style, that you're here with me today celebrating. None of us are perfect. None of us are going to do this perfectly. But we see this pattern in culture of people giving up what they know to be right sometimes in order to find a loophole to get their way. And it's so human, again, no shame, but we're going to talk today about getting out of that pattern just a little bit. And like I said, more next week. So officially, a protest behavior is when you're acting out or punishing or withdrawing instead of just directly communicating that need. And your spouse could become, in addition to what we already shared, more critical, more distant, more dramatic or difficult. But what they're really saying is, I need something from you and I don't know how to ask for it safely, or that might be you with them. Because, like I said about Taylor, sometimes there might be a fear of another rejection or potential rejection or vulnerability, or there could be an ache from childhood or a past relationship you don't want to revisit. There could be a pattern of being dismissed, criticized, and of course, their Enneagram types help us to nuance what that might be about. And we'll get more into that next week. But the protest cycle really starts up when there's a need that arises, and then there's a fear of asking for it directly. So there's an acting out instead. Then there's a partner reacting to the behavior, and then the original need goes unmet, and the cycle repeats and escalates. So, how I might do that as a seven could be that I'm like, I have a need. I'm going to just do gluttony instead. I'm going to have a gluttony of relationship, an exercise, an eating. For Wes, it might be clamping down on control. Like, I have a need, so I'm going to clamp down on control to get it because there's this fear of acting directly. So, think about yourself and your own Enneagram type for a moment. What is a loophole sometimes you've noticed yourself taking? And then think about your partner. What is a loophole sometimes you see them taking? Again, we're not shaming you, but it's helpful to know when it happens because I love a spiral education and the way that here on the E&M pod, I like to share teachings in multiple ways that cover similar themes so that you know and I know these patterns happen regularly. It's not like, oh, once I learned about something, I'm done. Like I was just teaching Jack biology about independent variables and dependent variables and control. And it's like, I know he's going to learn this many more times, but it's just one time. And that's how I feel about you. Like you're learning this maybe for the third or fourth time in some way, but is it really sticking yet? Are you really realizing that the protest behavior, the tragedy of it is it's pushing away the very connection you're seeking? Each of you are seeking. And it just happens a lot. So I just want you to be aware of that. Like I said, we'll go type by type next week. But until then, I want you to be thinking about that your own patterns are important to discover. And if you're like, Christa, you just asked me that, I'm busy, I'm driving, I'm with a kid, I can't think on it right now. Something for homework for you about this would just be journaling out or typing notes in your phone. When I'm upset with my spouse, how do I typically behave? Do I criticize, withdraw, gossip, create drama, work more, get anxious, become passive aggressive? That's your protest behavior. And so now that you've got it, instead of acting out, try, I'm feeling this because I need this. Would you be willing to? And it might be something as simple as saying, like today, Wes was asking me a few things, and I was like, oh, I think he's seeking control because he probably feels powerless in some way, like a body type could happen. And, it was like, when, if he, I don't think it'll be a big deal because it was a small thing, but like if that was the example, I could say, Wes, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I need to have some space to talk about this with you later so we can really navigate our schedules. And he would be like, okay. And that was actually something of what our conversation did happen today, just not in the exact formulaic way, where he was like, hey, I want to check in about this or that. Can we do this or that with something you're doing? And I was like, okay, let's talk about that later. And here's some ideas of what I am doing that I can share right now. And then I sent a funny meme because I knew that, I wanted him to hear. Sometimes you can't tell in a text. This person isn't trying to be mean. They're just not able to attend to all the needs I want to control right now. And so we're humans, guys. We all like to control sometimes. So just allow yourself to notice none of this is hero or villain behavior. It's actually just trying to notice. Sometimes these protest behaviors actually block us from having the communication we need to get to. Like, what does Wes need in his day? I'll find out later, to feel that equilibrium, to feel that healthy window of tolerance. And so make sure that you don't just react to the behavior like you would with your protest behavior when you do see it with your spouse, but respond with the underlying need. I can see you're upset. What do you need from me right now? Or something like, I can see there's something important going on for you around X, Y, or Z. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's the fact that one of you wants to have a baby. Maybe it's the fact that something about where you're planning a vacation. But can you help me understand what's going on for you? And when your partner does speak out, respond positively, and especially if they've asked for the need directly. And if you need time, it's okay to say, I need some time. Let me process that. But don't dismiss or minimize their requests and show appreciation when they're vulnerable with you. Thank you for telling me that directly. That was so helpful. And make it easier to ask than protest. My goal is for you to be partners, not for you to be usurping authority against each other. Like I said, going in passive aggressive or regressive ways to do that, because sometimes this can make, of course, it cross into abusive lines, emotional, verbal, physical abuse, and you could have threats, name calling, destroying property. And like I see in culture, a lot of just, I will give up my whole self in order to make you possibly like me better. And that's not going to really work for long term. So make sure you're doing what you need to do to set your boundaries, to find safety together. And if you're really seeing destructive patterns, make sure you reach out to a therapist, a coach. And I am doing the Enneagram relationship intensive. Don't forget to sign up for that if you like. You probably got my email newsletter where we talked about Mark and Sue. They sent in a beautiful letter about their experience of after 42 years of marriage, how much they love the intensive. You also heard last Wednesday on the pod from Kathleen and Ken about their experience. So if you need a deeper dive with me, I am here for you. We will get intense, but we also have fun. So pay attention to your protest behaviors. We'll come back next week to continue. I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend if you're listening live. Don't forget to check out the show notes for the relationship intensive, and happy engagement to Taylor and Travis. It's been a long time coming, but I think it was perfectly timed. All right, talk to you soon. Bye bye.